Carolyn, you guys all set?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Can I be heard? Hello? Is this on? All right, let's talk up. Oh, good. All right, welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Board of Education for Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 for Flossmoor School District 161. We have a roll call, Mrs. Farina.
Okay, Simmons? Nelson?
Here.
Griggs?
Here.
Blackman?
Here.
Paredes?
Here.
Huckabee?
Here.
And quorum is present. Next on our agenda is audience comments. We have one parent who has signed up for audience comments. Nicholas Quirk would like to talk about home rule in Homewood.
Thank you very much for hearing my statement. My name is Nick Quirk, and I'm here representing the Homewood Citizens for Home Rule Committee. I'd like to formally ask the Board of School District 161 to vote to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the Village of Homewood for a number of reasons, but most notably because we in the community believe it's in the best interest of local residents, especially our students and their families. While we understand that District 161 is not in a position of financial need today, your neighbors in District 153 are, and your support would be a strong signal to both the Homewood families of District 161 students, as well as the community at large, that Home Rule in Homewood is a good first step in taking our financial future into our own hands. While it certainly isn't news that Springfield has had its struggles fulfilling its commitments to local municipalities and schools, I'm proud to be a part of a community that's taking steps to protect and enhance the lives of its residents by seeking out additional and diverse revenue streams to maintain the qualities of life we have come to expect in Homewood and Flossmoor. And it's my personal belief that District 153 would be willing to share its support with your community and your school district when and if the need arises for you. Home Rule would give our leadership the tools it needs to make Homewood even stronger than it is today. We believe that if residents vote to make Homewood a Home Rule community, we will have better schools for our children, stronger police and fire departments for our community, and cleaner and safer neighborhoods for our families. I would like to again ask the school board to make a strong endorsement of our local government by voting to approve the intergovernmental agreement today or in the very near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quirk.
Thank you. Just as a matter of practice, it's actually coming back to the board on the 22nd for action. But it's on the agenda tonight for discussion.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Okay. Are there any other parents who'd like to make a comment or ask a question who have not signed up? Okay, with that, I'll move on to our next agenda item, which is recognition of students.
Very lucky to have our fabulous 8th grade girls basketball team from Harper Junior High tonight. We also have Coach Thompson here. Not only have shared updates with the Board of Education all along the way. Regional champs, session champs, went down to state. We were there to see them off. Didn't end the way that we wanted, but proud, can't even begin to describe how we feel about these young ladies. Spent some time with them in the foyer, and we were waiting for everyone to arrive in the buses. They are thoughtful, they are caring, they are nice, they are fiery, they are exactly who we want representing District 161. We'll be happy to follow their careers as they move on to HF or to other high schools. So, ladies, we will call your names when you come up. We'll line up front, and then we'll take some pictures. We have certificates for you, but we'll send them to Coach later in the week once we get them squared away. All right? And then once we're all up here, Moms and Dads, you can take as many pictures as you want. We'll take as much time as we need. Okay, so Bianca Anderson. All right. Lexus Dean. There, all right. Adriana Gant. Nehemiah Gray. Aria Harrell. Alexis Human. Isis Aaliyah Phillips. Rachel Robinson. Adriana Short. And Autumn Turner. Coach, want to come up? We can take a couple pictures. All right, so let's get that. Yes. Board members and coach, and get behind.
Is it possible to give them the back? They don't have to have the ones with the one.
Yes.
Listed, so
Yeah.
for the
Isn't it pretty old?
They don't have to have theirs.
No, you sure?
Just for the picture.
May I have yours? We'll take it back to you, and I will do it. It's my OCD coming on. Yeah. Would you ask? Not in Zoom, at least in the right name. True. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Sure. All right, nice job, ladies. We'll take you back with you. Good job. We'll send you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good job.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the superintendent's report. Dr. Smith?
Sure, yesterday, staff at District 161 participated in some training activities on restorative practices as a part of our Institute Day activities. We all came together at Parker, just to hear the same message about the effective ways to respond to situations where our values, our relationships, our connection to each other have been damaged by poor choices, which could be bullying, other bad decisions, just poor behavior in general. We've had training on restorative practices in the past, and so it could have been redundant for some people, but it was really an opportunity for all of us to hear the same message we're on the same page, and now as we take steps forward, we know where to continue our training, where to offer differentiated opportunities, and where to make adjustments by school. This coming Monday, on January 15th, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service in Flossmoor. Community members are encouraged to volunteer at local nonprofits, contribute to a Respond Now food drive, or join neighbors to load all the donated goods onto the Respond Now truck, and that's going to happen on Monday afternoon. All of our schools are participating in one way or another, and we're hoping to build on the success of this thoughtful event. Laura Brennan Levy at the Village has played a key role, along with Maggie Backus and a number of other parents. We're just very thankful that they've reached out to us and been able to collaborate on this project. I know it's very exciting. And then this week we have a couple of different things happening. We're very pleased to welcome members of the Home Flossmoor High School Parents Association, along with some of the administrators from HF. They'll be at Parker Junior High School tomorrow to talk about advanced academics that are coming up, but also just how to get your student ready for Home and Flossmoor High School. So that's tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the North Gym. They'll be generally talking about ways to prepare for high school and what it means to become an HF Viking. The following week, on Thursday, January 18th, from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the South Building Mall Auditorium over at Home and Flossmoor High School, that's when the specific advanced academic showcase will take place. At that event, students and parents will learn about advanced placement, International Baccalaureate, Project Lead the Way, and other fine arts offerings at the high school. And then they'll have an opportunity to talk to some students who've gone through those programs as well. And then Thursday this week, we have our spelling bee over at Parker. So Parker's pretty busy this week. We have a lot going on after break, but we're right back into the thick of it. That's it, my report.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Next on the agenda, we have a consent agenda, and we have the approval of minutes for the regular Board of Education from November 13th, 2017, regular Board of Education meeting, December 11th, 2017, executive session minutes from December 11th, 2017, as well as to appoint Assistant Superintendent to prepare a budget, approval of personnel report, FOIA request, and a second reading and policy approval of revised policies 5:20, 7:20, 7:180, and 7:185.
I don't know if this is the time to do it, but I would like to make a motion, or I don't know if we have to wait, but I want to talk about item D, an executive session if we can. I have some questions I'd like to ask.
We have the full consent agenda.
So can we pull it
Sure.
to the table for later?
Okay.
Well, why don't we pull it and then go to executive session?
We can do that.
Okay, so then what we'll do, I'll make a motion, I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items as presented with the removal of item D, special education, I'm sorry. With the,
Personnel report,
Personnel.
personnel report.
which one was that again?
That's item D.
No.
Oh, I see. With the item D, which is
Personnel report.
personnel report.
So moved.
Okay, we have,
Second.
okay, first, Mr. Nelson, second, second. We roll call, Mrs. Brito?
Okay, Blackman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Huckabee,
Yes.
Paredes,
Yes.
Briggs, Simmons,
And motion has passed.
Motion executive session.
Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter, okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss matters related to personnel 5 LCS 120/2C1.
So moved.
Mrs. Huckabee is first,
Second.
second. We roll call, Mrs. Brito?
okay, Simmons, Griggs, Huckabee,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Blackman.
Yes.
Paredes.
Yes, the motion is passed. It should be executive session for, I'm guessing, about a half hour. Excuse me, we're back in open session. I will make a motion to approve the personnel report as presented. I'll entertain a motion to approve the personnel report as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Huckabee is first. Second. Second, Mr. Nelson. Can we have a roll call, Mrs. Prino?
Okay, Griggs,
Yes.
Simmons, Nelson,
Yes.
Blackman. Yes. Paredes,
Yes.
Huckabee.
Yes.
The motion has passed. Next on the agenda, we have operations and maintenance update.
Just a verbal report from DC level.
So we've had some interesting times the last couple of weeks. The weather definitely played havoc on nearly 2 buildings at this point. Flossmoor Hills had one domestic water pipe break behind the wall in the boys' bathroom. That was repaired and replaced over break. But the bigger issue was Serena Hills. They had approximately 7 classrooms that froze. So we had both unit coils freeze as well as domestic pipe freezes. They worked very diligently over break to, we brought in compressors and so on and heaters because we had to keep the spaces in order for the coils to keep frost and water pipes to defrost, and then of course they started leaking, but they were able to mitigate much damage. It's going to be costly, but they've got all the classrooms up and running again. The unit vents are going to have to we're going to have to go back to them. They've replaced the hot water piping in there so that we can get the heat back into the classrooms. So they're going to have to go back in and replace the cold water piping that is in there, because those also froze and broke. And that's obviously, for the moment, not as important as the heat. So they'll be going back, those at a later date, to repair. Unfortunately, so far this winter, we've already wrapped up quite a bit of HVAC charges, so any money that we kind of saved last year from non-expense in those lines, I expect that we may exceed budget on those lines this year, because we're already pretty well there, and I haven't seen the bills for what this whole week has cost us again, we're still beginning of January. So that's kind of where we are. Scott and his crew worked long days, nights, weekends. They're to be commended for what they did to get that building up and running and ready for students today. But that's kind of where we're at.
Remind me, did we lose heat or did it just cold in general?
It was really just the cold in general. Most of the classrooms, it was the one side of the building.
So we simply repair those pipes, and if we have a cold snap again, there's a heat snap.
It actually did. We're going to stay on top of it now that we know that it's an issue. See if we can maybe pump a little more heat to those spaces, to try and mitigate that from happening again. Let's put it this way. There's a couple of our buildings that have digital pneumatic control, so he gets notifications on his phone when something bad goes, when something's going wrong. The other buildings do not. As recent, he was in the buildings almost every day during the break. I believe it was Christmas Eve. We walked into Western Manor and knew immediately that there was a problem. Probably saved us within hours of there being a disaster too. He was able to get boilers up and running before we had any real problems there. But it's already been a tough winter, and we haven't really seen snow yet. So.
When you say expensive, how much would it cost? Like tens of thousands?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm really not sure yet. Let's put it this way. At one point in time, we had 5 precision trucks, with a couple of men in each truck there working days and into the weekends to get the place up so that we would be able to have students in today.
And Scott, be coming to us in the near future with a plan to stop this from happening in the future, and those at least in those classrooms, right? We need to.
We'll look at that if there was a particular cause to it other than the extreme weather. But on some of those sides of the building, the wind is blowing the wrong direction and it's coming and it's right on the outside walls of those buildings
Right.
sometimes.
So-
There's simply nothing we can do about it.
Well, but if it gets to that temperature again, we know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
It
we'll
will
keep
happen
a much
with
closer
certainty.
eye on that, I'm sure. I will talk to them about what it is, our game plan is, but it's, just some of those things.
So, just to clarify, I just want to make sure, because I was listening to you, and so we have hot and cold water running in.
The pipes and everything Yeah, and both of them broke. The main, obviously, our core concern is getting heat back into the space.
Sure.
And we're about pulling out the other days, we'll get them back in and,
Okay.
finish the repairs.
So we have water running.
The other thing is, all of the faucets that, we replaced, have been replaced, the ones that tested for lead, and the new testing has been completed, we're waiting on results. So we should be able to turn all those back on again, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a tri-conference discussion. Let's carry it forward.
Just wanted to bring this back in the handout. So these are some notes from Carolyn Griggs. Carolyn, thanks for sending those forward. So we have a couple things that were shared with me. We talked about different sessions that people attended at the joint annual conference, which again was in November. Really, they focused around community engagement practices and then really achievement of all of our students, whether they were at the upper end of the spectrum, lower end of the spectrum, or that middle 60% that typically does not get discussed. But I did attach one presentation on community engagement. If you go through your membership portal on the IASB website, not all, but maybe 75% of all of the presentations are there. And so if there was a session that you missed on community engagement or board functions or building functions, whatever you're looking for, you can probably find some information on those. I downloaded probably 10 to 12 based on our current strategic plan. I can always put those in a Google folder and share those with you. Some of them aren't relevant now, but in 12 to 15 months, they may be. If you look at the notes from Dr. Lee's, I think there are a couple of good presentations on here. I can look for the actual PowerPoints or materials from those presenters. But really, this is just a conversation of, we went to the conference, we gathered this information, what do we want to do with it now that we have it?
Okay, certainly I think I think from a board perspective, I think these notes are helpful, certainly to see what other people have seen. And I had asked after the conference where new board members' experience was and what were some of their takeaways, because those fresh eyes are very important as well. And ultimately, I think that it's important for boards to be well-versed and educated on these hot button topics. Some of them wind up being educational fads. Others wind up being enduring best practices and certainly helping put the structures in place. But ultimately, looking at the board's role of supporting success in the community and finding resources and turning to our expert that we hired to manage this. I of course would love to hear recommendations on from the superintendent, down the road, or see where some of these ideas might fit in to support our goals in our strategic plan, as well as in your goals for what you see coming into this district, how we can become more successful.
thoughts on June? There is one, River Forest 90, the presentation on some of their equity conversations that they've had in their community. I believe Michelle Worth had an opportunity to see that too. Ralph Martiri, who was their actual president. We've reached out to that district and they agreed to meet with us as well. So we'll find some opportunity. Actually, the second week of February, we'll be in River Forest to have that conversation and just to pick their brains about what they've done in that arena, what it's like for their community, for their school district, teachers and administrators and families, and then what are the natural connection points to Flossmoor? What do we want to bring back? We'll share that information with the board, and then, again, in relation to our strategic plan, what makes sense to spend our time on moving forward.
Are there any other comments regarding the tri-conference at this time? Any other notes? Okay, and certainly, as you move forward, the conference isn't like a one and done, see you next November, as much as it's, they're really almost sometimes seeds to plant, that sometimes things grow, and we can just look how, they may dovetail into our plans and how we're growing as a district too. Okay, well, if there's no further comments, let's move on to the next item, which is our 2018-2019 calendar. Dr. Smith?
Sure, so this is purely in initial discussion. Fred and I are meeting with the FEA tomorrow. So it's a natural opportunity to speak with them, to collaborate on school improvement days, institute days, get some information about how the teachers think we should use our time. I think we've had a successful process in the past of collaborating around the calendar. We want to continue to do that. In order to do it successfully, though, we wanted to get the board's feedback on the calendar process. For the sake of starting someplace, using the 2018-19 dates, we have all the time kind of parsed out in the chart that is attached to your report. The only real difference would be a non-attendance date on September 19th. Otherwise, everything is about the same.
So is that an added, at September 19th, is that an added?
Yes.
Because it's not like in my copy.
On the page. Right. So Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur both occur during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be the observance on September 19th of Yom Kippur.
The other, I think I've asked this question before, or said something, not with you as our superintendent, but with school starting in the latter part of the week, even in the mid part of the week, is there a reason? I know we need those teacher institute days, don't get me wrong, but is there a reason why I know we may lose some days that the kids couldn't start off at a full week like the following week? I'm just asking.
So go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on the institutes, and then school start on Monday. Either way, either that following week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking the question because I know even as a parent that gets to be kind of, but I mean, I'm the only parent that ever thinks about that. I'm just curious, as to why.
I've seen it done in both ways.
Yeah.
Has there
Is
been?
it in funding, funding on the state or federal level? I know there's an impact when we end in terms of.
No, we would cover all those. We still have the same number.
Can I, just a second? Misha Blackman has left the room briefly. So what I'm going to suggest, since there's only 3 of us now,
Sorry, I didn't see
that,
that.
oh, that's right, but they would have to be physically seated at 4.
Yeah,
So I'm going to suggest we just wait a little bit
sure, no problem.
and until she comes back.
Sure.
I have my harmonica in my car. I'll just go get it. It's next to my bagpipes, which I'm getting fixed, but they're still good.
Continue the dialogue, you just can't get close.
Okay, so Mr. Simmons is. I'm sorry? Oh,
I
Mr.
have some comments on the calendar, but I think we're still discussing.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull up your email, Carolyn, or do you have those comments with you?
Sure. Well, sure, well, it's regarding Columbus Day, and if you've ever had it, prior to me being on the board, if the issue of Columbus Day has ever come up, have you ever talked about, using that day as an opportunity to think more deeply about indigenous people? As everyone I'm sure knows, there are many districts that have chosen to remove Columbus Day or call it a different day, and kind of switch the lens through which we look at events surrounding Columbus. So I just wondered if that's ever come up, if any parents have brought that up. I know I've had a few parents talk to me. One in particular I can think of who was shocked. No, two, who was surprised that we still have Columbus Day on the calendar. So I'm throwing that out there. I think it's something that we should look at and maybe think about reframing Columbus Day and even possibly renaming it.
I know that prior board member Harold brought something up about this. It's on prior meeting, I do remember. But I would point out, Columbus Day is a federal holiday, so it's going to be on the calendar as a day off anyways. Beyond that, personally, I don't care what anyone calls it. You know, people can do what they want with that day.
I've had this discussion with my students over the years. Again, it's a federal holiday. What people choose to observe, I think is entirely up to them as a school district. And frankly, is that something that's in the school code anywhere?
So we have to observe it.
Well, is there any, I know the Illinois school code is a master of add-ons and non-deleted sentences, but if, I'm not quite sure, is there any language in there that says that, schools are required to observe it officially in some way other than it's a federal holiday, so it's a day off for?
I can look into it.
I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I know it's always been done, but you're right, other districts, have taken it off, so, if we were to lose it or move it, again, looking at that calendar, maybe going to a Monday, I don't know how we can interchange that, but.
I don't mind it being a holiday, or however you want to call it. I would offer the suggestion of offering a flash and just renaming it so that we are able to have honest, good conversations with our kids and there's that expectation throughout the district that we treat the way that it should. Now that we have historical facts to support an appropriate representation of Columbus, and I think there's nothing wrong with, if we're going to talk about a group of people, then let's make sure that we name whatever we're doing. Name it properly. So whether it's indigenous people or however you want to do it, but right now, because it's called Columbus Day, Columbus is the star of the show. So I would recommend, or at least think about how we can rename the day so it's represented on the calendar so that people understand that we know what the day is, and we're clear on the historical facts associated with the day.
Right, I think it's kind of like Christmas just happens to be smack in the middle of winter break. And Easter typically is somewhere around spring break. And Hanukkah typically is somewhere near spring break or winter break as well. But it kind of sounds like maybe it's a curricular question of, how do, and this is kind of my question with the school code, for which I don't know the answer. Is this a conversation that would start somewhere in curriculum to say, well, what is the opportunity here that we could look at? I think in terms of your question, Dr. Griggs, I think that, which is a good question, and certainly this is a great question brought up last year, that that is a worthwhile question that I think that could be explored in curriculum. And I'd love to hear some thoughts and support, or recommend support.
To answer the school code question, the school code says that this is 105 ILCS 5/24-2B. Says that a school district can, if it applies for a waiver from the state, hold classes on Columbus Day, provided that the persons honored by the holiday are recognized through structural activities conducted on that day. And I didn't read the whole thing there. But I don't think holding a school on that day is something anyone wants to do. So I agree with Ms. Well, I don't remember my history lessons as a kid being all that misleading. I'm pretty sure we knew exactly what History of Columbus did and what the consequences on, the North-South America were. But and I imagine our current curriculum probably adequately covers the topic, but if we think the curriculum for the students who are studying that period of history is inadequate, then we should take a look at it. But other than that, kids are, it's a federal holiday, so it's sort of, in my view, outside of this board's jurisdiction, right? What people do on that day, not our business, not our problem. We shouldn't be overreaching.
Okay.
I do have one more comment about the calendar. It's just a thought, just all these years, even being as a parent, but just a thought of having those open houses. Is it really we have them so close together to the start time, maybe not really. Just getting back to the swing of school, what is it? Other than, okay, you meet your teachers and your principals, but it's not really giving them, I think, both sides time to, the kids and the faculty, time to really assess, and not that it's a parent conference, and not really giving them time to get acclimated. That's just a thought. I don't know what everybody else thoughts are, but.
And this question, again, has come up in high school where, we just started. And maybe questions around, clarity of, well, why are we meeting? And because I can say that, to engage with our children's parents, is a very worthy goal. It's certainly very valuable. It's to say, well, how's Jeannie doing? And it's 2 weeks in, you're getting there. So in terms of progress report, it may just be, on the right track. But I think that meet and greet as an institution, I have found to be very valuable, just in terms of, letting parents know what to expect. But again, that's, I think, something that I would defer to the administration, and then maybe look for some clarity in terms of, how are we communicating this to the community, that, we're having this open house so that we can do that.
Yeah. So we didn't read that, the way to engage with the
No, I understand.
But we are looking at a couple of different ways to get parents in the building, to start that process earlier. So if we did do that effectively, we could push back the open house, because we would at least have the initial relationship building opportunity, and then create some space for the open house, bring families back, and go from there. So then what we'll do is we'll take this information, we'll meet with the FDA tomorrow, and then we'll come back to the board on the 22nd. At that point, we should be pretty close to a draft. Yeah, I've already frankly received at least one communication from a parent planning vacations for next year. So we want to get that, calendar done soon. If there are any other thoughts, please go ahead and share those. We'll have something that can be.
Fantastic. Okay, so are there any other questions? We will move on to our next item, which is special education update.
Good evening, everyone.
So I just want to bring forth some special education data, just kind of update the board and the community with where we're at. We have, this year, we can see that there's some differences from last year, so I have some comparisons. We are overall at 14.2% special education. It's a little high. We'd like to see that be reduced. We need to look at who we're identifying, why we're identifying, and see if we do in fact have over-identification or if it's truly the right numbers. But we want to give our kids the service that they need. So we have to really look at how we're doing that. Our enrollment, overall enrollment as of 1/3, before all the new students have come in to register, was 2407. So in special ed, we have 343 eligible students, 342 are getting served, one parent declining. The differences, the things I really want to point out to you on this slide is we have an increase of 17 eligible students this year. We have 10 more IEPs. Then we have 9 additional service plans. The service plans are students that attend our private parochial schools that are eligible based on ISTE guidelines. So we have 2 in the district. One is Infant Jesus Prop, and the other is a Montessori school. So the criteria for that is that they have to have a kindergarten program. So Montessori is the base of preschool, but then they have to at least kindergarten. When St. Joseph's School and Homewood closed, we had 5 families that came over, or 5 service plans came over from St. Joe's. They registered at IGP and we took over the service of those. So that was the first 5, and then 4 additional students were made eligible this year from St. Joe's. Service locations within our district, so special education services in every building. We have walk-in speech, and what walk-in speech is preschool students that need some level of speech to communicate, either it's articulation or language. Typically, walk-in speech is just articulation. And we put those students at high risk in our pre-K program, but our pre-K program is full. And so those students would do walk-in speech services. So they come to their home school building. Parents typically transport. They meet with the speech path for whatever time that they need, and then they go home to their parents. We have, like I said, the preschool classes at Flossmoor Hill School. That classroom has 20 students in the morning and 20 students in the afternoon, and it's full. It's been full since October. We have resource services in all of our buildings, and we have an instructional program throughout for the district. Our instructional program is typically students that need support at this time, based on our design, more than 50% of their day. So they do join a homeroom typically for art, music, library, PE, and they lunch in the main lunchroom, but for the most part, all of their academics are in a smaller, self-contained environment. Our classroom, one of the classrooms for instructional is early childhood, and that's at Western Avenue. We have our K-1 instructional program at also at Western. Heather Hill hosts the 2-3 class and the 4-5 class. And 6, 7, and 8 is of course at home. We also have kids that we service outside of the district. We serve students in other public schools. So SPEED satellite programs. So SPEED has both their building and then they have satellite programs. In fact, we host one of the satellite programs at Heather Hill. So we have some students in satellite programs. We have students at ECHO. That ECHO Co-op hosts the DHH program. It's actually also in a public school building, so it's a satellite, it's not in the ECHO building. And then Lincoln Way Cooperative is another special ed cooperative, and they run a SELF program. It's for students that have emotional needs. We also have students in public day schools, so SPEED building itself is considered a public day school, and Illinois School for the Deaf can be a day school. It's also residential. We have a student who does reside at Illinois School during that. We also have students in private schools. We use Easter Seals, Britain School, Hyde Park Day School, and Elam Christian School. New students this year, in comparison to last year, this data was pulled from 12-5. So it is approximately 2.5 months earlier than last year's data. So in district, we have 20 new students that came in with an IEP that we placed within the district. 14 were in elementary and junior high had 6. And out of district, which means they came in with an IEP that specifically stated that they were in a structured program that was housed out of the district. A lot of those were emotional students or students that had some significant behaviors. Last year at this time, last year in February when the presentation was made, there were 39 new students. So last year there were 9 more elementary and 7 more junior high students, but 1 less out-of-district student by February. So it's running about on track. We had 1 or 2 new students, I believe, that started the registration process yesterday that came with them. Caseload information. So just background knowledge, I think this is really important when we talk about special education because there's rules and regulations and caseload limits and all of those things that go with it. So resource, the general is a maximum of 20 students. You have to really think about what a resource caseload is when you talk about 20 students because it's really impacted by the student needs. So we have a lot of students that have maybe a light need, maybe they need a little bit extra help in math, and so we go into the classroom and we provide that help, or they step out of the classroom, maybe during enrichment time and get that extra special ed support. But we also have students that have significant needs, that need a lot more support, or need a parallel curriculum, or need something that is different than what is going on in the regular classroom. And they're still special ed and they're still considered resource. So it really just depends on the level of need for each child. We like to keep them in their home school. Well, we do have an instructional program that is only housed at 1 school in the district per grade level. And we do like to keep them in their home school as much as possible. So if we can meet the need in the general ed environment with that level of support, that's what we want to do. In order to meet more needs in their home schools, we need to look at a different way of supporting them if we were to provide additional supports and keeping additional students in the home schools. Early childhood classroom with paraprofessional support. They have 10 students per classroom. Typically, a teacher can have 5 students, and when you put a paraprofessional in, you can go up to 10, and that's the cap. You can't put a second paraprofessional in to get 5 more students. So 10 is the cap for early childhood. Preschool, our preschool program, is the PFA grant program. We wrote that program for 20 students per class, and again, there has to be a 10-to-1 ratio. So for that program, we have a paraprofessional and an aide, a paraprofessional and a certified teacher, and they each have 10 students, so it's a 10-to-1 ratio. Instructional classes with paraprofessional support. Again, our instructional classes can have 1 teacher with 8 students, and then when you add a paraprofessional, you get 5 more. So you can have up to 13 students with a teacher and paraprofessional. And for speech, the caseload, the maximum really is 60 students. But again, like the resource caseload, it really doesn't take into account the minutes of service. You could have a student with 90 minutes of service or 120 minutes of speech service versus 15 or 30. So it really just depends on the level of service. In general, I recommend 45 students as a high caseload. That's really accounting for the quantity of minutes. And there's a lot of times during the day that we don't want to pull students for speech service from class because we're pulling them from academic. So part of that is figuring out that. So we have some areas of need currently in the district. Our 2nd and 3rd grade instructional class at Heather Hill School is at capacity. They're 13, and we had another student, as the next bullet point says, I wrote a waiver to the state because we really have to have a 14th student in that classroom, so we're waiting for the waiver to come back. I have really no concerns that it will be approved. It's 1 student over. The teacher fills out a document. She felt supported in the classroom, that she had enough resources, and that we would be providing her with any other supports that she might need.
Where is that student now? Or are we waiting?
The student is in the classroom now and started today. So the waiver was written in December, and I'm hoping that I checked my let you know before I came up here, hoping that they didn't enter it. Yeah.
So at this point, excuse me, if there were another student to come on board or to try to come to, what do we do? We turn that student away? Or?
Never turn a student away. I really look at the programming in the classroom and see what, if any of the students might be ready to move back out of the classroom. The logistics of special ed is that I can have, there can be 13 students in that classroom for any one period. And it really is based on their level of need and service. So because they're at the highest level of need in district, that's why we're capped at 13. So if we have students that may be ready to push out for reading class, I could have a different student step into the reading class. So we're really looking at that already to see if we're meeting our students' needs, if they all need that significant instructional level, or if we can move some to a resource level. So we're constantly reevaluating where they're at. But to answer the question, if tomorrow I had a student move in that had the instructional classroom, I don't know that the waiver could be granted at 15. I don't know that that's a good move to make necessarily. They have to, again, do another revamping and looking at all of the student needs. But it might be actually a request to the board to have another teacher and split the classroom, so that we would reduce our numbers but have 2 separate classrooms. The other thing, at Heather Hill, we have 1 resource teacher. She has 12 students right now. There are 2 in kindergarten, 2 in first grade, 2 in second grade, 2 in third grade. Fourth grade, there's 3, and there's 1 in fifth grade.
Is that on here? I'm sorry.
That information is not in.
Okay.
Right. I pulled the breakdown today.
Okay.
So the reason why that's important to pay attention to is there's 12 students across 6 grades. So you can't bundle kids more than across 4 grade levels. You can't have those that age span in a classroom. And it's really not appropriate. I mean, we really need to look at the level that they need the support in. So maybe a couple of grades could be put together depending on what each student needs and how we're servicing them. But we rather push into the classroom if we can. And it is a large caseload for 1 person. Doable right now, but I'm just saying that we need to really monitor that and look and see for next year and look at our staffings and make sure that we have enough support for those students. The next is some areas of opportunity. We have early intervention services for our students. We have our preschool program. There are, like I said, 40 students in our preschool classroom. We have submitted the intent to apply for the new preschool PFA grant. It is now back to being a competitive grant. We've had it for it was a 5-year grant, and they extended 1 year, so this is the last year of the old grants. Based on grant allocations, based on the writing of the grant, I am hoping that we will open additional classrooms to service more of our students that are at risk for academic care. So the grant will be submitted this week, and hopefully we'll hear back. I'm thinking in March, but I promise I'll let you know as soon as we hear back and see what the award is. We are writing for 4 classrooms and the staff to support that. Another area of opportunity is early intervention for our students. Another form of early intervention, we have begun work with the University of Chicago's research team to promote early intervention for incoming kindergarten students. We're hoping to use a program that they helped design and to partner with them with the CHECK program. It was the early childhood, Chicago Heights Early Childhood program, and they ran a kindergarten boot camp. So if we're able to establish that partnership, we'd like to run that boot camp this summer. If not, we'd like to run our own boot camp this summer because we have our kids, our kindergartners, some help in learning, getting ready for school, learning how to use food, getting some cases under their belt. They have great results from their program. there any questions?
Is there a cost for the program, or strictly research for the University of Chicago?
We are working on those details. I am not sure if it, I think they're past the research point, the main research point, but they may be trying to gather more additional data. And, you know, we would be, they've already done their basic research, so they've already shown positive correlation to the boot camp and student success. So getting in on that and being part of it is something that we would like to do. The details of the cost have not been determined at this point.
Cost could be as simple as just another summer school class, quote unquote, paying for that time. But I would say, after seeing that initial research, the money spent there will save money down the road for those students.
Good question. Do we, in this district, currently have a, I don't want to say kindergarten boot camp program, but something like an entry program for kids coming into this district? I believe that was a discussion, I want to say last year at some point. And this might have been something that I talked to Mike Pop about, as a possible agenda topic, but I don't know how far.
Our summer program last year for kindergarten type age children was under special education. We didn't have any general ed kindergarten incoming to kindergarten program.
This is everybody.
Okay.
Again, under that early intervention. It's not a special education piece. It's good for kids piece. Just
Okay.
kind of
Right.
aligns with some of the work that Robin is doing for us very well, I might add.
Sounds great. I mean, fantastic.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have home with home rule, intergovernmental agreements.
Okay, so we are down almost to the wire. This is the second to last meeting that we'll have this on the agenda. When it comes back on the 22nd, we will need to take action, either positively or negatively. Although I suppose taking no action is an action. The deadline is the 23rd of January to sign on to the resolution with the other taxing bodies, I believe. We're trying to verify the last piece. I believe the other school districts have both approved it, Homewood and Homewood Flossmoor. So essentially, you have the report, you have the intergovernmental agreement. If there are any other questions that you would like us to try to dig through over the next couple of weeks, we can try to do that.
Looking at the data that I looked at, so, I was talking about what the gentleman, Mr. Porter, I believe his name was, came today, just in general. So, 153, 153 and a half, 153.
Just 153.
Just one, I don't know why I was looking at a half. I don't know, it's bad, but 153, they would mainly benefit
Yes.
from this. Okay.
They get the lion's share of the funds that come. So basically it's 70% to District 153 and then 7.5% to the remaining taxing bodies, including us, Homewood Flossmoor 233, the HF Park District, and the Homewood Library. So if you use a round number of $1 million, it comes out to about $75,000 for
saw
us and $700,000 for Homewood 153.
For John and Carolyn, I know we had some discussion at the last meeting about, I raised the question of, do we really need the revenue? Doesn't seem like we're in need of it, and to the extent 153 doesn't apparently need the revenue, why don't they just keep it? You guys weren't here, and so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
John and Carolyn? John and Carolyn, did you guys hear the question?
No, well, I think that Cameron said that he wanted it needed, but I told him we needed, that they do need it, whether we actually need the revenue, did I get that right? Did you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was questioning at our last meeting why we would agree to this. In other words, you know, we represent primarily Flossmoor. We would be taking a position on a policy that impacts a huge swath of Homewood that's well outside of our jurisdiction, and in exchange essentially for free revenue. But
I can't hear you.
Okay, so to paraphrase, Cameron's question is, since we are primarily not Homewood, that to what degree do we have some sort of footstep toward making a decision like this, or this is something that maybe we should just back off from? Is that right?
close enough.
Okay. Do you have an opinion on that? Ultimately, do you have an opinion about to what degree we as Flossmoor 161, which is 80% not Homewood, because I think 20% of our kids are from Homewood, is that correct? That to what degree should we have a kind of say on this that would affect? Yeah.
I read the agreement. All the requirement is for us to sign the resolution. The resolution in always offers support for what Homewood's doing, always memorializes payout of the proceeds. So I'm not sure why we would have a problem doing that. It's free money for us.
Well, it's not free. It's coming out of the pockets of Homewood residents, including Homewood residents. Yeah, it is. Everyone who stops at Starbucks.
The pockets of the people that stop in Homewood retail entities.
Sure, which is primarily going to be Homewood residents.
No, that's not true. That may be your opinion, but there's nothing that backs that up.
Okay. Do you have any data that suggests otherwise?
I don't.
Okay.
Did you have any evidence that suggests that that's your point of view?
No, I don't. But, you know.
So the answer is we don't know. It may be Homewood residents, it may be Flossmoor residents, or it may be none of the above. It may be some other village residents.
Right.
The point of fact is, all they're asking us to do is approve the resolution that maps out how the funds are going to be dispersed. It in no way supports what they're doing, nor does it go against what they're doing, only that we accept monies that they're going to give us at whatever it is, 7.5%.
I hear what you're saying, Cameron, but at the same time, we do have 20% of our students in Homewood. I'm willing to accept 7.5%. The fact that we do have 20% of our students from Homewood means that we have an investment there. If it were 5%, I'd feel that way too, but it's 20%. So my feeling is, I'm not sure why we wouldn't accept 7.5%. I'm not, that's fine. I'm okay with accepting the money.
Well, so say you're a Homewood voter, though, and you don't live in 161. And so you're being told by the 161 school board that you should approve home rule, which comes with a whole lot of implications beyond sales tax. And then you would be asking yourself, fine, if I'm going to support home rule, which is going to raise my sales taxes, why am I going to give money to Flossmoor? Like, what are we getting in exchange for, right? Why should we give any money to 161? 161 is not in the same financial situation that 153 is. Why shouldn't all the money go to 153? And I don't have good answers for those questions to Homewood voters who don't live in our district. And so, that's my primary hesitation to agree to this. What do we get, you know, Homewood is.
Except we do support 20%. 20% of our kids are there. So it's not as cut and dry as you suggest.
Aaron, are you suggesting that, and just to clarify, that if we did support this, that we might consider not taking the money and just leaving it for Homewood for the rest of the taxing bodies?
Well, yeah, so there's this provision that says we're gonna meet every 5 years, the taxing bodies, and that a majority of the taxing bodies, so there's 5, right? So 3 of us could band together and totally change the distribution formula, which, by the way, I hate that provision. I mean, I guess it's not our problem, but it seems to me that Homewood is giving too much away in this agreement, right? They're taking something that they have total control over, and they're handing control of that distribution to the 5 taxing bodies. So in 5 years from now, we could get together with the high school and the park district and agree to take away the 70% that's going to 153.
So does that mean that each, and just to clarify, that each taxing body has an equal vote, or are they assigned a vote weighted by the percent that they would get?
The language is in paragraph 5.3, and it says the other taxing districts shall meet every 5 years to review the home rule sales tax distribution formula. The village shall agree to and implement any distribution formula modification approved by a majority of the governing bodies of the other taxing districts. So that is clearly not a weighted vote.
Okay.
So the original language around that is unanimous. Cynically, Homewood has no reason to ever want to review this. Cynically, purely. If we're just talking finances, there would never be a situation where they would want to do that. I will tell you, in the conversations that we've had, whether it's 153 or representatives from the mayor's office, the spirit of collaboration has been fantastic, and the commitment to the local taxing bodies has been great. And I think we're probably okay. I worry about the park district and the library. I know that they're a little bit nervous about that language specifically. It's a natural connection for the district to bond together, and there's your 3, and then in theory, push somebody out. There's no indication that that would happen. I know that that's only as good as the people who are currently sitting here today or what we're saying. But,
Well, it's not even people, right? Finances, you know. Let's say for some reason, 153 is suddenly in dire financial straits. That's powerful motivation. So, I just don't see what is our motivation for being involved in this deal at all. And if we are involved in it, why do we care about the revenue at this point?
because we would put it to use.
Well, but that's not a good reason to tax people.
So what we're saying with this resolution, and I think John kind of alluded to this, the only thing that we're saying is resolution says what we think it says. We're encouraging everyone to become familiar about the information about home rule on the website, and that the resolution is in full effect upon its adoption. That is what the board is committing to. Frankly, not a position either way. Now the recitations above, referendum question goes to the Village of Homewood. We have entered into a governmental agreement. Our funding comes from the state. State level funding is dependent on property values. And then without home rule, this resolution does not exist. So really, you're limiting what you're committed to.
I still not hearing a compelling reason for us to raise taxes essentially on residents outside of our district, or even to seek revenue outside of our primary source of revenue, which is property taxes. We seem to be doing okay based on that primary source of revenue. We don't need extra hidden streams of revenue, and especially on something like a 25-year commitment. But that's my opinion.
Do you need any other information? Okay.
All right, are there any other questions for the board? Comments?
there's language in the proposal that references one of the taxing bodies refuses the money or turns it back in. It's redistributed equally. I believe the term is equally. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. I read it and highlighted it earlier. I don't know what equally means. Does that mean pro rata or does that mean equally, such that everybody gets 25% if one of the 5 taxing bodies turns money so they can't do equally?
I'm looking for that 1 second.
Paragraph 2.2.
Yeah.
It's in the last line of paragraph 2.2.
If knowing how previous conversations have gone, equally would mean between the remaining 4 bodies, not based on the formula.
At 25% apiece?
Correct.
Okay, so potentially, if one or more taxing bodies decides we don't need the money, we're doing this fine as it is, we could see more than 7.5%.
Yep.
Okay, and the other point I want to make is, again, my read of the situation is that were we to approve this resolution, in no way, shape, or form do we individually or as a district offer or convey support for what it is the Village of Homewood is trying to do, but rather we memorialize the money that we're going to get if they're successful. And as such, I think we'd be doing a disservice to our constituents were we to turn away what essentially is potential inflows and revenues to come into the district. Putting aside the point that, in some opinion, we may not need it right now because we're in such a strong financial position. We all know that's tenuous at best in this state and may in fact change very quickly. That's all.
So the other piece about taking action at our board meeting on the 22nd, no action means our percentage would be distributed equally to the rest of the taxing bodies.
Okay, are there any other further comments or questions from the board? Okay, then with that, I will move on to item F, which is our monthly financial report. Dr. Smith?
There's nothing, this is, we bring these just as our monthly financial reports to share with the board, so if there are any questions or feedback.
Are there any questions from the board or comments, feedback? Okay, with that, we'll move on to item G, approval of Flossmoor Hills principal. And I will entertain a motion to approve Haley Marty as the principal at Flossmoor Hills School beginning July 1st, 2018. Mrs. Huckabee's first. Second. Mrs. Blackman. Do we have a roll call, Mrs. Perino?
Okay. Huckabee?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Simmons? Blackman?
Yes.
Paredes?
Yes.
Graves?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Motion is passed.
I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve the Flossmoor Hills community. I look forward to continuing the level of excellence at Flossmoor Hills and also bringing new and innovative ideas. My husband and I are very thankful that our careers brought us to District 161 10 years ago, and I am forever grateful to the mentorship from Ms. Pat Craven, and I'm very excited to continue to work with the wonderful families and students and staff at Flossmoor Hills. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Simmons, are you still there? Okay, good. I thought we lost it for a second. Okay. Yes, we're on item H. Okay, next.
I move we approve the bill in the amount of $592,031.09.
Okay, I second. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Do we have a roll call, Mrs. Marino?
Okay, separate motion.
I second the motion.
Roll call is Briggs,
Yes.
Simmons, Nelson,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Paredes,
Yes,
Huckabee.
Yes.
the motion is passed. Next on the agenda is the approval of payroll. I will entertain a motion to approve the payroll in the amount of $1,470,285.24 for the month of December as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Huckabee is first,
Second.
Mrs. Blackman is second. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Mrs. Marino, can we roll call?
Okay, Blackman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Simmons,
Simmons?
Huckabee,
Yes.
Paredes,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
And the motion is passed. Next on the agenda is executive session. We will go into executive session with no action afterwards to discuss matters related to personnel, 5 ILCS 120/2C1. I imagine we'll be in executive session for about a half hour, if you don't wish to wait. I have a great imagination. I suppose so. Have a great evening, everybody.